Being a dental student requires me to be very, very organized in order to stay on top of things. With all the lectures and labs that we have on a daily basis, it would be impossible to remain floating and alive in this position if I didn't have a good organization system that was able to keep me on track and keep me up to date. Hello everyone, my name is Steven. I am a second year dental student, and today I'm gonna walk you through my updated organization system that I use as a dental student every single day. I've kind of talked about the elements of this system in the past, and I've kind of showed you how I go about making some things, but throughout my full first year of dental school, I kind of reworked this system over and over again until I had what really worked for me best. So I'm gonna show you the 3 apps that I use for organization every day, and we will begin with the schedule. But before we do that, I just wanna remind you, if you do enjoy this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content about dentistry, my experiences in dental school, and my life outside of it as well. So let's begin this process of talking about organization with a schedule. Now, I have tried endlessly to figure out what is the best way to keep a schedule for me. I've tried physical schedules. That's actually something that I did when I was preparing for my DAT. I wrote out on a physical schedule everything that I had to do. I've tried to create schedules within Notion, which is an app that I'll discuss in a minute, but nothing has really worked for me. I feel like the process of making a calendar, making a schedule is just very time consuming and tedious. And there are ways to kind of automate this process and make it go by a little bit quicker, but I don't really have to do that because thankfully we have a girl in our class who does all of this for us. So I get this question all the time when people watch my vlogs and I show this schedule. This calendar is actually within Outlook, which is our school email that we use, Microsoft Outlook, if you're unfamiliar with it. And it actually has a really good built-in calendar system that we all as a class use. And within this system, I have every single day mapped out for me. So I can kind of show you today. Here it is, July 15th, and here are all of the things that we had today. This is a couple of lectures that Group B did. We're still split 50-50 with our lectures. And then here was a lab session that we all had from 1 to 5. And so this calendar basically stays up to date every single day. I don't even have to do anything because, like I said, one of my classmates fills this out for us. She does an amazing job, and I'm very thankful for that. And one of the coolest things that I like about this calendar that most calendars are gonna have, depending on the app you're using, of course, is it actually has an iPhone widget, which you can see right here. And that is just gonna show me my day in a quick glance. So every time I look at my phone, I can see that I have a couple of lectures, a couple of labs, whatever it is. Also, this widget's nice because it shows me what is upcoming. So right now it's telling me that the first thing that I have tomorrow is a lab starting at 1 o'clock. So that helps me to decide when I need to wake up. It helps me to kind of, the night before a day begins, I can go through and kind of decide how I'm gonna do things tomorrow. When am I gonna study my lectures? When am I gonna make my cards? When am I gonna work out? When am I gonna do the on-campus stuff? All of that I can kind of, in a brief sense, decide the night before. So this is the Outlook calendar, and it has been a great tool that I'm very thankful to have. Like I said, I have no need to make my own calendar, so this is what I use. Now, Notion is a really popular app in the sort of organization space because it's super, super intuitive and you can do a lot with it. I actually use Notion for a bunch of different things. I have all sorts of different pages within Notion. One of the things that I do with it is, of course, related to dental school. I have this dental school page here. This is my kind of landing page. And I will say Notion isn't as useful as I thought it would be before I began dental school, but I still use it on basically a day-to-day basis. So as you can see here, this is once again my landing page for dental school. I will go into my DDS2 fall semester 2021. That is, of course, where we are right now. And once I'm in here, this is kind of the beauty of Notion. You can really do anything you want with it. If you want to have a schedule in here, you can create one. If you want to have useful information, you can do that. Links to things. You can basically create your own landing page for school, all your organization. You can take your notes within this. There's just so many things you can do. But for me, what I really like to focus on is I first have a schedule and exam distribution. This right here is going to be our definitive semester schedule that we're distributed from our school. So that's what this is right here. It just has all the information that I showed you a second ago in our Microsoft calendar. And then down here, this is our exam distribution. This is going to show us what classes are tested on in our exams, and it's going to show us how many questions are on each class. Then I have a useful link that I use for different things that are school related here. I next have exam pages. These are really useful for me. I'll show you my first exam. We call them PAR tests or PAR exams. And this is what it looks like. I basically create a page, I give it an emoji. The sun is signifying the fact that it's like 100 degrees outside every day right now. So we will have 108 questions on this upcoming exam, and these are the classes that we're basically going through. So you can kind of see what I do. I create essentially these to-do lists, and I go through all of the lectures that we have, and I give them a check when they're finished. I'm gonna check this one off because it's done, and just have a little bit of other information down there. So this is a really useful page for me. The last thing on my Notion page is my course pages, and this is literally just an information dump. Anytime I have any sort of information or need any space like scratch paper for a class, I will go into my course page and use these pages for that reason. Another thing that I like doing with this is just deciding on the emojis. It's kind of a fun thing that I do in my organization for every semester is I go through and I pick an emoji that makes sense for this class. So for example, complete denture here, the person doesn't have a mouth. In reality, the person wouldn't have teeth. It's kind of dumb, but I like putting these emojis in and just kind of finding which one. This one's interesting, a file cabinet for endodontics because we use files in endodontics. But something that I might do in this course page, I haven't done anything yet, but next week for clinical medicine, for example, we have a kind of a small group recitation thing where we're meeting with a couple of our classmates and we have a case where we're presented with a patient and all of their health history and information, and we have to decide how we would proceed with this patient based off of the information we're given. So here is where I would kind of go in and write, things about what I'm doing and all of that. So that's really all there is for my Notion. Like I said, I don't really do a ton in Notion anymore because the major app that I use, which I've talked about a lot on this channel and I plan to talk about more, is Anki. Anki is just an absolute powerhouse, man. I mean, I don't think Anki is gonna work for everybody. I've actually talked to some of my classmates who don't prefer using it, but I really like using it. I use it daily. And during my time using Anki, which is not even really a full year yet, but quite a bit of time, I've kind of discovered a lot of things about how I like to use it, and more specifically, how I like to organize it, which I can kind of show you because this to me is very important if you have cumulative final exams. As I alluded to earlier, we have multiple exams throughout the semester. In fact, this semester we have 8 integrated exams, so all of our different courses are jumbled together and put onto 8 different exams throughout the semester, plus 1 cumulative final. And when it comes around to the cumulative final, there is so much information. There are so many courses, so many lectures that we've been through, and just so much material. And if you're not organized that time late in the year, it can be very difficult to get going with your studying. So basically, I'll show you how I organize things. First, I have a deck for my entire semester. So of course, DDS2 fall, and I then make exam decks. So you'll see here, this is my Par 1 Exam 1 deck, which I have plenty of cards that I need to get to. We'll be doing that after filming this video. And then once I click on my Par 1 deck, I will basically just have my cards, and that's pretty simple. But where it gets interesting is actually how I tag my card. Now, tags are something in Anki that I never really realized were important until I went to take a cumulative final and I realized that I had thousands of Anki cards with 0 organization. And so I started using tags. So if I hit E for edit here, I can look at the add interface of this card. And this is where you can see how I tag my cards. Now you'll see this is a big kind of flow of information with the tags. I start with the most broad spectrum tag I could possibly start with, which is the semester. DDS2 fall, that's going to tell me what semester I'm in. I then add the exam that I'm studying for, the exam that I'm adding this card for. I then add the course, so this card is for microbiology. And then I add the lecture. Now, you might think that all of this information isn't necessary, but once again, if you have cumulative finals at the end of the semester and you have to go back and find all of this information, it's really helpful to use these tags so that you can create filtered decks to then go back in and study, for example, microbiology from Par 1. I promise you this doesn't seem like a big deal as I'm showing it to you right now, but once you start using it and you see the benefits of using tags, you will thank me in the long run. And let me know if you'd like me to make a more detailed video about how to tag things, like how to actually do it, and then the theory behind what you should do when you tag things. But I truly believe it's all a sense of trial and error. It's all what works for you, what doesn't work for you. That's kind of been how I've discovered everything with my own Anki. And guys, that's pretty much it for this video. That's the 3 major things that I do for organization. It keeps me focused every day, keeps me on track. There's not a ton that I have to do for all of this, and I think some of it has been the fact that I've streamlined a lot of my organization. I've figured out, once again, what works for me and what doesn't work for me, and this is the system that I've come up with. But the cool thing about nowadays is that we have all these devices. We have MacBooks and iPads and iPhones, and all of these devices can access all of this information. Unfortunately, Anki is slightly behind the curve when it comes to integration with their iOS app and their Mac app. Every day I have access to all this information with any of my devices, and it makes the day-to-day a lot easier. Folks, that's it for me for this video. That is how I organize my life in dental school with Notion, Anki, and Outlook. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I love making videos like this where I get to sit down and talk about my theory behind the school and how I do things. So once again, if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments, and make sure you like the video. That really helps me out. It helps push the videos out to more people like you, and it helps incentivize me to continue to sit down and make these videos in the middle of studying like I'm doing right now. But truly, I appreciate all of you for watching, and I'm super excited for the next video. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.